just want to make sure Katie knew that she was invited to come to the meeting, you know.
You're live.
Okay, we get started. This is the April 28th, 2022 meeting of the Public Service Committee of the Gardner City Council. All members are present, Chair Walsh, and members Gernlowitz and Tyros. Do we have minutes?
I believe so.
No, we don't. Okay. So we'll take that up perhaps at the next meeting. So we have department updates, Public Works, Water, Sewer, Dane Arnold, DPW Director. What was yours?
All right, just have an update on the paving schedule, that we're gonna be out milling Pearl Street. And this is a tentative date based on weather, May 9th, which is 2 weeks. We still have some water tie-ins to do up in that intersection. Right now, we're currently we just finished up Pearly Lane yesterday, tying in the new water main to Pearly Lane and Pearl Street. And then today and tomorrow, we'll be working on Pearl Street at Chapel, and then from there, we got Ruby, Robert, and then Smith Street, and then that will be, Pearl Street will be ready to go as far as to be milled and paved. So we'll probably be out there for about 2 weeks. By the time we mill, it's about 5 days. Behind them, they're gonna be raising the structures and then paving.
So it's in sequence rather than coming back at a later date, or?
We're gonna try to bang it all out as quick as we can.
Mhm.
So, because we don't want, given the speeds on that road, we don't wanna keep the structures up.
Yeah,
We'll paint them, but it's,
but still, it's a hazard,
Yeah.
when they're up, yeah.
so. And then,
Aside from what the damage to the structures there.
right, we'll paint them and, you know, put up cautionary signs, the contractors on them for that, so. So that's gonna start May 9th, and again, it's probably 2 weeks, at maybe a little quicker. And then on May 23rd, the week of that, they're gonna be starting on Central Street, West Line, West Monadnock, and doing the work, so from there. And Parker Street will be done, looks like the week of May 30th. So the downtown, or the week of May 30th, the downtown area will get done. And that's again, all out of the water loan that was approved.
Yeah, that's the one, all right. What about chapter 90 paving?
Chapter 90 has not been, the Chapter 90 money has been approved. It's about a little less than 600K. There is some other additional funds around 300K that I don't believe are in our coffers yet. So once that's done, I just spoke to the mayor yesterday, we're gonna be looking at putting some of the chapter, or most of the Chapter 90 and city funds into the sidewalks and paving down in the Robillard area, so that whole neighborhood is gonna get done, and then if there's money left over, I don't have an answer as far as what other streets are gonna be done. So,
Mhm. Yeah, because there was a schedule that, a priority schedule that you had given us, I think, back a month or so ago.
Yes.
And is that the one that you're following, or?
correct.
Okay.
Yep. I just don't know what we can afford because oil prices are going up, and
Right.
I just don't
Well,
know exactly
they
what-
moderated a little bit, but not a whole lot. I don't know if asphalt has gone moderated.
It's up about $10 a ton, so about from 70 to 80 roughly
Yeah.
dollars a ton. Just to
Mhm.
get an idea.
And what was it a year ago, for example?
Like I said, 70, 71, now it's up to 82, 81, somewhere around.
Okay, oh, you were comparing to last year?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
good enough.
So it's paving, the water, like I said, is, they're doing the tie-ins down on Pearly Street, although the main lines are in, they're just doing the tie-ins, tying the new mains into the old mains on Pearl Street, down on Douglas area, and Draper area, so over the next few weeks. So that's probably gonna take a couple of weeks, at least until the water project's wrapped up. Probably get us realistically July, the water project should be done. Pearson Boulevard, May
I
1st.
saw some signs up, or say work area.
Yep, yeah, they're in there. May 1st is their start date, and I don't know what they're starting with. The state, we had zero contact. They mobilized up on 140, we had no idea they were there.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
So 140 is also getting resurfaced as well.
And that's from
Green Street to
Green Street to the Winchendon line, or?
Yeah, it's about 1.3 miles of
Mhm.
pavement. and some safety devices, and I think they're putting up the little plastic.
They're gonna put those little plastic things in the middle of, along the median?
Yeah, so the plows have something to aim for.
Is that what?
We have about 3 line items that are affected because of the cost of fuel and oil and whatnot that, I'm probably at some point, well, 2 of them I know, I'm gonna have to go in front of finance, to ask for additional funds. One is streetlights, which seems to be every year, we're short about $10,000, today, and we still have 3 more months of paying bills, so roughly it will probably be about 40 grand in the hole for streetlights.
And what is that attributable to?
They switched over to LED lights. The city is saving on the cost of the lights, but our solar credits, which when they built the solar fields, I personally, I don't know how the credits are done. I'm not involved in that, but what I think is the city's given a credit for the solar fields in, I'm making up numbers, the school department should be getting 100 grand in a credit, maybe they're getting 120, and the light line item is not getting the credit it's deserved, or I don't know how it works, but I don't know.
Okay. So it has to do with the credits, the deficit has to do with the fewer credits?
Fewer credits and the maintenance costs, I think, of the lights, having a contractor for the first few years going out, and when there's a faulty light coming, we have to hire a contractor to replace the LED lights. I think that's more than what we were told they were gonna be.
Mhm.
That's the other part of it. So that's in the whole 10 grand. Snow and ice, I hope it's done. We're at $334,601 to date for the snow and ice deficit, so that would be a total of $634 for the total snow and ice for the year.
We're already at 300, we've already supplemented it by 300,000?
Yes, that's in the original bill. So the total cost for snow and ice for last year is $634. And then vehicle fuel, we're in the plus right now. We got about 30K in our vehicle fuel. And just so everyone knows, the vehicle fuel is not just DPW, it's police, fire, school department, even the airport. They credit us, the school department credits us, the city as well, but we pay for it out of my budget. So we're in the black now at 30,000, but realistically we'll probably be in the hole, and I don't know exactly how much, but I'll probably be in front of the council asking for vehicle fuel money.
These kind of end of the fiscal year items that come up with
Yes.
some regular, particularly snow and ice, that always comes up. Used to be that we budgeted $90,000 for snow and
I
ice,
heard that. Yeah.
knowing that it was,
Yeah.
that it was gonna be substantially higher.
Yeah, my first year here, I'm like sweating. But realized.
Well, and we also used to, snow and ice is one of the few areas where you can deficit spend, carry it over to the next fiscal year. And we used to do that. That was kind of a regular part of budgeting. But it catches up with you eventually, and we haven't done that in a long time.
So that's some of the line items. Line painting, we're gonna try to get them in before Memorial Day to put on the lines. Some of the streets aren't gonna get done because we're paving them, but we're gonna try to get them in at least for the parade,
Mhm.
get them done before May 22nd. There is a paint shortage, which.
Yeah, I've heard about that. The PPG, I think one of the major paint suppliers or manufacturers is citing shortages, of supply shortages.
Yeah, last year we couldn't get paint. Some of the crossworks weren't done that we wanted to do in the city. This year it seems a little easier, but it's still pulling teeth to try to get some of the stuff. Ordinance changes, I did receive the edits back from the city solicitor. I just haven't had a chance really to go through.
That'll be coming up, yeah.
Next meeting, I'll get that dated. The water transmission line that goes from Crystal Lake up to the tanks, we actually had it out advertised to go up to bid.
The new one, the new line.
And we pulled it, after speaking with the mayor, we applied for a bunch of grants for that, and we're hoping, we think there's a decent chance that we might be able to get free money, but the only way we would get free money is they need to go through the review and reward it, and it couldn't be a work in progress. No, we couldn't be working on it, so it's something we would have to get the money and rebid it. So we yanked the bid, hoping that we get money. And
So, well, if it's funded, then you start the project, you can't start the project hoping for funding?
No.
Or not the preliminary parts of the project?
no,
The
they
bidding
wouldn't,
part?
they wouldn't, we couldn't ask a contractor to make a bid on today and, oh, we'll get the money in October and start next.
So you have to have a financial commitment for it first?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we pulled the bid, and it's still gonna happen, it's just,
So it's all put together then?
yes, the bid is ready to go, the plans are ready
Is
to
there a
go.
timeline for the granting process?
Realistically, probably fall, so I mean, this wouldn't happen until next year.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, that was probably something that, I mean, we weren't really hoping for this year, were we?
We were planning on starting in the fall if,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah. We have the rights of way that we need and everything?
Yeah, we own the, we'll call
All the
it
way up to the
Hayward-
top?
The Hayward Street.
Street,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's the transmission line. We are looking at, we also put in a grant for a new salt shed, because ours is, if you drive by it, it's falling apart. And the plan is to put it across the street.
We own the land?
We own the land.
Yeah.
We're also looking at trying to get a sign room, because if you ever take a walk down to the DPW and all the signs you see, the street signs, any sign that comes out of the city,
Like yield signs?
including yield signs or yield for left turn signs. Yeah, they come out of the sign shop, and he has to move equipment in order to do another job, so we're trying to maybe do a sign room expansion or a building of some sort.
Dedicated space.
Crystal Lake, the old building, up at Crystal Lake, we're looking at tearing that down. It's gonna fall down if we don't, so we're looking at doing an in-house demolition. We've worked with the building department, Board of Health. We just have to do some asbestos testing up there, if any. I don't believe there is, but we're gonna be looking at tearing that down and then building cremation vaults, kind of like what they have over at the Winchendon
Veterans one.
Veteran Cemetery?
Cemetery.
Yeah.
So I think it would look nice up there.
This is Crystal Lake Cemetery, obviously, you're talking about.
Yes, yeah. So that's something that's on the works.
This is and the location of what you want to tear down again?
It's the Crystal Lake building, it's in the Crystal Lake Cemetery.
Okay,
Next
is
to the
it
old chapel.
access from the Jackson, or is it Jackson Road or something like that?
It's actually Crystal Lake Drive,
Oh,
next
okay.
to the pool.
Okay.
You go around and follow
I didn't know if the access was through that area where the substation used to be, or
No,
maybe it
it's-
still is.
that's skated off, and I think it's eventually looking at doing a bike path up there. Community development is looking at making a road trail.
Yeah, the old rail bed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the building behind Crossing Parks. almost.
Yeah.
That's where it is, if you went through the woods there, or into the houses, that is.
So that's all I got.
Okay.
I do have that's.
Well, we'll bring that up at the end,
Okay.
because it was something I raised, so. Okay, any questions, councilors?
No, thank you.
Rob?
So what I just handed you, there's been discussion about a light at the end of the back high school driveway on Blanchard Street. So figured we'll put a sketch together so you can see what's out there. Basically, and this is what, I know Chris had even talked about this prior to me, but what you see there is at the end of the driveway, there's a pole right by the word street on Blanchard Street, which has not a street light, but a floodlight that points at the parking spaces across the street. On the other side of the driveway, there's a utility pole down the street heading towards Pearl.
It's marked UP?
Yep, UP, so there's a utility pole there. Heading south on Blanchard, there's another utility pole with a street light. Heading off in the other direction up towards the housing, there's another street light in front of the building, by the word Blanchard on Blanchard
Yep.
Street.
Yeah.
So that's what's out there for lighting. National Grid has confirmed they will not put a floodlight on a pole and point it down the driveway. So that's out of the question, which really leaves one option is to put a street light up somewhere. Chris is getting a cost from our current contractor, Coviello, who does our street light maintenance of, I think it was $8,800 to put a light on the utility pole going down the driveway. That first pole is labeled existing utility pole typical. The reason the cost is currently those overhead wires going into the school site our three-phase service. You can't pull a light off of that, you need to provide a secondary service. So they'd have to run basically from the street where their floodlight is, a new service into that pole.
Into that pole, that short distance there?
Yep, so that's where the main cost is there. As Dane already talked about, streetlight maintenance is basically gonna run in a deficit at some point. Normally, we could maybe find the money there. My recommendation, as much as I hate to say this, is maybe we should talk to the school department about putting that light up to light their driveway.
That was gonna be my question, why?
Yeah, well, that's, me too. I mean, it's the school department site. I'm happy to help them and look at it with them, put them in contact with the contractor. If we were doing it on the street, that's one thing, but we don't really have, I think the pole down further south from the driveway is a little too far away for a street light to really do anything for them. I think one at the top of the driveway there would give them more light. So I think that's how this should proceed if it's gonna move forward. It is dark there, so I can see the need, but I really think it's a school department issue more than a public works or engineering.
So that's the plan, is to suggest to them that the project should be within the school department budget?
I'll talk to Mark Hawk and see if he wants to take it on as a school department project. And otherwise, again, I mean, this year, we don't really have the funds to do it.
Yeah. Well, if you can give us an update after you do that and see where we are.
Certainly.
And I was bringing it up for the constituent. I'd be happy to help too. Any discussions? I know it's when I went to school there. Certainly in the winter months it gets pretty dark up there. We used to run up it for track workouts.
Oh, sure.
So that's that. The design at Wayside Dam, there's been a little action there. The engineer was out with a drilling company who did test borings on the dam. They have to establish, confirm what the dam is built up before they can do their full design. So it's a geotechnical investigation. They were out there this week to do some other testing in the borings that were done in the well casings. So that's gonna help them move forward with design, so that's a little movement there. The only other thing I have is the Uptown Rotary. There's been a little action there in terms of easements and takings. So there's a number of construction easements that are required, and then there are a few takings, permanent small easements that we need for the work. Attorney Flick is moving forward. We have to do title exams on all those properties. So he's moving forward with that. So he has an outside company doing all but one of them. His firm will be doing the one which is the church site, because there's still.
Yeah, I think wasn't there
It was an item, last
item on the last council agenda?
Yeah, he came in for I think an ethics.
Yeah, ethics disclosure.
Yeah, so he could do the work. His other title company who he uses normally didn't want to touch it just because the
complications.
The intricacies. So he has a I think he has a history on it, so it makes sense for him to do it. But he's working on that. Following those, then there'll be contact with the property owners about what's needed. And at the same time, I think there'll be appraisals done for the takings, or even the construction easements, because there's a monetary value there as well.
Yeah.
Are
there takings involved?
There's, I want to say 3. They're all small, but it's just, little areas where they just need a little bit more space.
More room for their criteria?
Yep. Yep. So that's where that stands. That's really all I have for you. Not much changed on my end since the last meeting.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, good enough. We have, the next item is regarding the Conservation Commission. We have an email from the agent, Katie Gardner, indicating that she was not well and that there were no real updates that she wanted to provide. I'll forward that email to you, Dave, so that it can be included in today's minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and we have, the next item is petitions, excuse me. Is there anybody here from the National Grid, do we know?
So I reached out to our contact at National Grid, I sent him the agenda and relayed, in fact, there's an email in the back of your packet.
Oh, yeah.
My conversation with him, letting him know that the poll petitions would be in front of the service committee prior to going forward with the city council as a whole. Basically, his response, as I understand it, was that National Grid, as a matter of course, doesn't generally send a representative to meetings unless there's an issue that needs to be hashed out. So they don't plan on coming to these meetings when there's a poll petition unless there's an issue.
Well, okay. That's, I mean, that's their response.
Their response.
I think taking these things up before the public hearing might be unwise, because one of the things that we may want to take up is if there is a problem with some of the, with any of the abutters to the locations or have questions that may want to come up. Maybe we'll make sure there's an issue for them to address.
On that note, I don't really have any, there's, I think, 7 polls in this petition. There's 2 jointly owned polls and 5 just National Grid polls that they're proposing. It's down Matthews Street where there's very few homes. And basically, the current service ends at the existing homes, and they're gonna extend service down to the site that's on the corner of 140 Matthews for a project there.
So there may very well be questions by the homes that, from people who own the homes that are going to be affected by it.
They very well could be.
I'd suggest that we ask for more time, see what the public hearing yields, if anything.
Makes sense to me.
Huh? Okay, so we'll ask for more time. Okay, that's on both of the poll locations then, obviously.
Yep.
Or both of the petitions, I should say.
Yeah, one petition is for the joint polls, the other is for the single-owned polls.
Okay. Councilor request, before we take up the one that I've raised, are there any that you guys have? The issues that you wanted to raise?
Not at this time, no.
No, thank you for looking into that streetlight.
Yep.
Okay, last thing, I brought this up a couple of days ago with Dane, and it's really not a new issue, at least for me, but it's one that comes up frequently for me because of its location. At the intersection of Lawrence, Elm, and Temple Street, there's a yield sign facing traffic entering Temple Street from Elm that says yield for left turn. And it prompted me to look up the city code, which designates the locations of yield signs all around the city.